This lesson will demonstrate how to use conditional statements in a console application in C#. My first step will be to create a new C# project, and I'm going to choose a console application. I'm going to rename my project and call it Conditional Statements. Example console. I'm going to ensure that my USB key is selected, which it is, and I'm going to press OK. Conditional statements allow my program to make decisions. When it makes a decision, it chooses a different path of code to run. Usually, a different path is chosen in response to user inputs. So for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the user to input a username. And depending on what that username is, I will display a message that says they have logged in, or I will tell them that they are an invalid user. My first step will be to create a string variable to store their username. My next step will be to display a user prompt so that they know what they are supposed to do with my program. In a console, the command is console.writeLine to display a line of text. Now the input prompt doesn't necessarily need to be long. If I just write username : I think most users will expect that they need to input their username. Next, I get their user input with a console.readLine. And now that I've gotten this information from the user, I can decide whether or not they are a valid user or not. So for my program, I'm going to make it pretty simple. The username must be Ironman for the person to log in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write an if statement. If username is equal to Ironman, I will let them know that they have successfully logged in. I'm going to document my conditional statement. And I'm finished. Some things I'd like to note over here is the if keyword, all lowercase, followed by a Boolean expression inside of brackets. Now a Boolean expression is a true or false statement. So this statement will evaluate to, is the username equal to Ironman? True or false? There's no other options allowed. Another tricky thing is when you're first introduced to programming is the equal to operator. And that is two equal signs. If you'll recall from a previous lesson, when we use one equal sign, it is the variable assignment operator. So to differentiate that with a Boolean expression, we need to use two equal signs. After your Boolean expression and your little bracket over there, you need to put the two squiggly brackets in. The code that you want to run when the if statement is true, in other words, when this Boolean expression I've highlighted is true, the code that you want to run must go inside of these two curly brackets. You will also see this indentation that occurs automatically when you're using Visual Studio. Sometimes the indentation will be incorrect, and that might happen if you're missing a semicolon somewhere or your brackets are not put in correctly. Make sure that you use the tab key to indent it to the correct position. For each curly bracket that opens up, you should indent in left. Once you have finished the code inside of there, inside of the curly bracket, you'll put a closing curly bracket, and the closing curly bracket will be not indented. So now that I've finished off my explanations, let's start this program so you can see how it runs. And so here's my program. I get to type in the word Iron Man, and you'll see that it says you have successfully logged in. I'm going to rerun my program now, and so you can see the alternate branch that could happen, which is, what if the username is not Iron Man? What if it's me? It says press any key to continue. So you can see that it does not say that they have successfully logged in. That is the end of this lesson.